me stories about witches. Is it true what they say?
Elves are the original sorcerers of the continent. When humans and monsters arrived, elves taught the humans how to turn chaos into magic. And then the humans slaughtered them.
Chaos is the most dangerous thing in this world. But without control, chaos will kill you.
So that's all life is to you? Monsters and money?
It's all it needs to be.
Something out there waits for you.
This child will be extraordinary.
Yennefer, imagine the most powerful woman in the world. Do you have what it takes?
I've got her here. She's why they came. You can't outrun destiny just because you're terrified of it. It's coming. Find Geralt of Rivia.
I can't do this without you.
No matter what you choose, you'll come out bloody.
I've heard tales of your kind, Witcher. You're a mutant, created by magic, roaming the continent,
We don't want your kind here.
hunting monsters for a price. I thought you'd have fangs or horns or something.
I had them filed down.
People call you a monster too. Why not kill them?
Because then I am what they say I am.
All of our choices draw our destinies closer.
If he is out there, there is still hope.
I have to find Geralt of Rivia.
Don't judge me.
They say witches can't feel human emotion. What do you believe in?
Evil is evil. Lesser. Greater. Middling. It's all the same.
Princess Cirilla is your destiny.
I can't protect her.
If you dismiss it,
Geralt!
you will unleash true calamity upon us all.
I'll take that chance.
Tell me, Witcher. You don't believe in destiny or the lesser evil? What do you believe in?
What is a witcher?
White hair, big old loner, two very, very scary looking swords. I know who you are.
A witcher is a mutant, and their trade in particular is monster hunting.
The Butcher of Blaviken!
You are almost universally hated by every species on the continent. It's unlikely you're going to have a cheery personality, but Geralt himself, despite the stony exterior, is actually quite good. but very capable of doing bad things. Geralt isn't simply a white knight. He isn't simply a harsh monster hunter. He's an incredible blend of the two. The rumors about witches are that they don't have emotions.
You take no prisoners. So I hear.
And that is perpetuated by them.
Sometimes there's monsters, sometimes there's money. Rarely both.
When they're created, they undergo alchemical trials, which is a combination of elixirs and magic, which have very aggressive effects on their bodies. This allows them to take various potions. These potions enhance them in various and different ways. The signs that witches cast, they are basic magic, but very, very effective. You often see this very dry humor come through, which is one of the more charming aspects of Geralt.
You smell of death and destiny.
It's onion.
Right, yeah.
Destiny is one of the major themes, which is a force which is controlling him and indeed the world around him. Geralt aggravates destiny. He doesn't believe in it. But it turns out there may be a little more to it.
Find her.
But Geralt's greatest strength is his capacity to still love despite having been treated incredibly harshly. Despite what he says, he still believes in the goodness of people. And you couple that with incredible sword skills, speed, agility, and endurance, then you have an interesting character.
Do you know how many people wouldn't blink if you died? You lie. You keep secrets. You succumb to emotion, to weakness. Do you actually have what it takes?
Yennefer is in a constant battle with herself. She had a really tragic childhood. A place of frustration, rage, confusion. She was born with a deformed spine and jaw abnormality, and because of that, her father resented her a lot.
How much for this beast?
6.
4.
So, 4 marks.
That moment sets up the whole of Yennefer's journey.
Just because you are conduits of chaos does not mean that you are capable of magic.
That then became her life. Who's next? However, she is never satisfied, always striving for something else. She owns her sexuality and uses it to manipulate people and get what she wants. Yennefer of Vengerberg.
My world is cruel. You enter, you survive, you die.
She presents a certain version of herself, someone who's direct and in control, dangerous. The arc that she goes through is an incredible challenge. She longs for this connection, but that fear, that insecurity, feeds this chaos, this magic that makes her incredibly powerful. She's epic.
What more do you want?
Everything.
Here is your first lesson. As in life, it is impossible always to be fully prepared for battle. Keep your sword close and keep moving.
There's something special about this girl. She's very loyal to the people that she loves. She's built a heart from it, but just hasn't had any experience in the real world. All she's known was a sheltered life as a princess and this very secure network of people looking after her.
At least you didn't shit your cats.
She's very relentless, very stubborn, and she's also very naive. I think she just wants to make sure that she doesn't get trapped in that box.
Would you honour me with the dance?
Martin.
She'd love to.
The typical conforming life of a princess. She wants to kind of break free from that. But she suddenly gets dropped in a very brutal world. People are after her. It does become something very scary.
Lesson number 2. Know when it's time to stop moving.
She loses everybody she's known within one night. A huge theme in The Witcher is the loss of family and the search for family.
Find Geralt of Rivia. He is your destiny.
If that's the last words that her grandmother has said to her, it means a great deal, and I think that's what keeps her determined to continue on. That's all she's got left to cling on to. It does mean a lot to her, but she doesn't quite know yet what it means. Being a princess doesn't matter anymore. She just doesn't know where to begin.
Be careful, child.
This place isn't safe if you're alone. And it's the same as every other place.
Cyrilla, you are the lion cub of Sintra.
Why do you think she's not safe?
I saw an army, a sea of black and gold.
Nilfgaard will destroy everything.
They're here. This is why they came.
Bring me the girl alive.
I have to find Geralt of Rivia. We can stop Nilfgaard.
I will personally defeat them.
Join us.
Why would I protect this? I want to be powerful.
I will take the girl, protect her, and bring her back unharmed.
Do not tell me that this is finally the moment you've decided to actually care about someone other than yourself.
Don't touch Roach.
Good evening. My name is Henry Cavill and I play Geralt of Rivia in Netflix's new series, The Witcher. I'm here to take you back to where we first met The Witcher, this book, The Last Wish. Let's begin, shall we? As usual, cats and children noticed him first. A striped tomcat sleeping on a sun-warmed stack of wood shuddered, raised his round head, pulled back his ears, hissed, and bolted off into the nettles. 3-year-old Dragomir, Fisherman Trigla's son, who was sitting on the hut's threshold, doing his best to make dirtier an already dirty shirt, started to scream as he fixed his tearful eyes on the passing rider. The Witcher rode slowly, without trying to overtake the hay cart obstructing the road. A laden donkey trotted behind him, stretching its neck and constantly pulling the cord tied to the Witcher's pommel tight. In addition to the usual bags, the long-eared animal was lugging a large shape, wrapped in a saddlecloth on its back. The grey-white flanks of the ass were covered with black streaks of dried blood. The stranger was not old, but his hair was almost entirely white. Beneath his coat, he wore a worn leather jerkin laced up at the neck and shoulders. As he took off his coat, those around him noticed that he carried a sword. Not something unusual in itself. Nearly every man in Wizim carried a weapon. but no one carried a sword strapped to his back as if it were a bow or a quiver. The stranger did not sit at the table with the few other guests. He remained standing at the counter, piercing the innkeeper with his gaze. He drew from the tankard. "We'll give you a hand," the pockmarked man hissed. He knocked the tankard from the stranger's hand and simultaneously grabbed him by the shoulder, dug his fingers into the leather strap which ran diagonally across the outrider's chest. One of the men behind him raised a fist to strike. The outsider curled up on the spot, throwing the pockmarked man off balance. The sword hissed in its sheath and glistened briefly in the dim light. The place seethed. There was a scream, and one of the few remaining customers tumbled towards the exit. A chair fell with a crash, and earthenware smacked horribly against the floor. The innkeeper, his lips trembling, looked at the horribly slashed face of the pocked man, who, clinging with his fingers to the edge of the counter, was slowly sinking from sight. The other two were lying on the floor, one motionless, the other writhing and convulsing in a dark, spreading puddle. A woman's hysterical scream vibrated in the air, piercing the ears as the innkeeper shuddered, caught his breath, and vomited. The stranger retreated toward the wall, tense and alert. He held the sword in both hands, sweeping the blade through the air. No one moved. Terror, like cold mud, was clear on their faces, paralyzing limbs and blocking throats. 3 guards rushed into the tavern with thuds and clangs. They must have been close by. They had truncheons wound with leather straps at the ready, but at the sight of the corpses, drew their swords. The Rivian pressed his back against the wall, and with his left hand, pulled a dagger from his boot. "Throw that down," one of the guards yelled with a trembling voice. "Throw that down, you thug, you're coming with us." A second guard kicked aside the table between himself and the Rivian. "Go get the men, Tresca," he shouted to the third guard, who had stayed closer to the door. "No need," said the stranger, lowering his sword. "I'll come by myself." "You'll go, you son of a bitch, on the end of a rope," yelled the trembling guard. "Throw that sword down or I'll smash your head in." The Rivian straightened. He quickly pinned his blade under his left arm, and with his right hand raised towards the guard, swiftly drew a complicated sign in the air. The clout nails which studded his tunic from wrists to elbow flashed. The guards drew back, shielding their faces with their arms. One of the customers sprang up while another darted at the door. The woman screamed again, wild and ear-splitting. "I'll come by myself," repeated the stranger in his resounding, metallic voice. "And the 3 of you will go in front of me. Take me to the Castellan. I don't know the way." "Yes, sir," mumbled the guard, dropping his head. He made towards the exit, looking around tentatively. The other 2 guards followed him out backward, hastily. The stranger followed in their tracks, sheathing his sword and dagger. As they passed the tables, the remaining customers hid their faces from the dangerous stranger. And there you have it. It's not easy being a witcher. Trust me, I'd know. You'd think people would be a little more grateful when you save them from monsters.
Thank you for joining me for this reading. But as you know, Geralt's adventure is just beginning.